Grayscale considers Grayscale Bitcoin Trust buyback if it loses Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuits. Grayscale Investments has informed investors of a contingency plan to deliver some capital to Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shareholders, even if it loses its appeal of the Securities and Exchange Commission's decision to block Grayscale Bitcoin Trust from converting into a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund. Grayscale might institute a 20% share buyback. All spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund applicants since 2014 have failed to address the susceptibility of Bitcoin's price to market manipulation by unregulated, offshore exchanges. Indeed, nothing more clearly illustrates the vulnerability of Bitcoin markets to fraud and unsupervised manipulation than FTX, which was once Bitcoin's second largest exchange. Grayscale planned to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an exchange-traded fund. However, the Securities and Exchange Commission denied the application, citing numerous insufficiencies. The firm challenged the decision in the U.S. Court of Appeals for District of Columbia Circuit. It asked the court to vacate the Securities and Exchange Commission's decision in a legal brief filed on October 11, 2022. It alleges that the Securities and Exchange Commission violated its own Administrative Procedure Act by approving several digital asset derivative exchange-traded funds, but rejecting a spot exchange-traded fund. The Securities and Exchange Commission rebuffed Grayscale in a legal brief, saying that the exchange-traded funds are priced on Bitcoin futures, which trade on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Next steps for Grayscale's buyback and battle with the Securities Exchange Commission. Grayscale has until January 13th to file a response to the Securities and Exchange Commission's rebuttal. The court then set February 3rd as a deadline for final briefs. Finally, it will hear oral arguments and potentially make a ruling at that point, or advance towards further proceedings. Grayscale expressed confidence that the three-judge panel of the Court of Appeals will rule in its favour. However, even if it loses, Grayscale has now proposed buying back up to 20% of the outstanding Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shares. The proposal provides an alternative to the share creation and redemption mechanisms made possible by an exchange-traded fund. Grayscale plans for a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust buyback will require approval from shareholders and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Grayscale CEO Michael Sonnenschein expressed concern about creating a buyback plan that meets Securities and Exchange Commission requirements. He admitted, quote, "The Securities and Exchange Commission may not provide this relief, in which case Grayscale Bitcoin Trust would not be able to pursue such a tender offer," end quote. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust buyback announced yet minus 46% discount to net asset value persists. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shares recently traded at a discount of down 50% of its net asset value. At present time, it sits at minus 46%. Some investment firms like ARK Invest view the discount as a buying opportunity, while others express concern about the financial health of Grayscale's parent company, Digital Currency Group. Another company in Digital Currency Group's portfolio, Genesis Global Capital, has been hit hard by the bankruptcies of Terraform Labs, Three Arrows Capital, and FTX. Parent company Digital Currency Group needed to absorb a loss of approximately $1.2 billion that Three Arrows Capital owed to Genesis Global Capital when Three Arrows Capital filed for bankruptcy. In his letters to investors, Grayscale CEO Michael Sonnenschein acknowledged the Genesis Global Capital situation, yet denied that it affected Grayscale Bitcoin Trust's Bitcoin. He said Digital Currency Group and Genesis, quote, "are not counterparties or service providers for Grayscale Bitcoin Trust or any of our other products, and as such, do not impact our products' operations," end quote. On December 6, 2022, affiliates of an investment advisor named Fairtree Capital Management LP filed a lawsuit against Grayscale, alleging that Grayscale failed to release information about fund liquidity and operating costs. The affiliates also alleged that Grayscale has a conflicted, insider-controlled management structure. Grayscale's CEO did not address the lawsuit in his letters to investors. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust currently lacks a redemption program for the Bitcoin it holds in trust. A previous settlement with the Securities and Exchange Commission came with a decision that its previous Regulation M redemption option violated Security and Exchange Commission's regulations regarding market manipulation. For more informed news, follow us on Twitter and Google News, or listen to our investigative podcast, Innovated Blockchain City.